speaking after Prince Phillip was spotted driving again just 2 days after the Duke of Edinburgh flipped his Land Rover in an accident which resulted in a woman travelling in another car breaking her wrist. Richard Fitzwilliams, former editor of International Who's Who, said only his wife, Queen Elizabeth II, had a chance of persuading him to call it quits. The accident on Friday night occurred on the A149 near the royal family's Sandringham estate when the Duke's Land Rover Freelander collided with a Kia. The Duke was unscathed. Fortunately, a 9-month-old baby travelling in the car with them was also unscathed, although his car was badly damaged, with 2 passengers in the Kia taken to hospital. Mr. Fitzwilliams said, "Prince Philip is someone who has carved a niche in our national life through his resilience, as he had a tough childhood and was an outsider as a royal consort, and through his unquestioned dedication to the Queen." The Duke retired from public life last year but continues to be as active and independent as possible. He is a highly respected if occasionally controversial figure. Mr. Fitzwilliams added, "Undoubtedly what motivates him is doing things his way. As old age inevitably slows him down, he naturally intends to keep as much of his independence as he can in his well-earned retirement. He was in his element in the Navy with a distinguished war record and is famously fond of speed and fascinated by technology. Slowing down is not in his nature. He still carriage drives, a sport in which he has become an expert, at 97. He walked away after being helped out of his car after the crash and seems simply indestructible. The sobriquet Iron Duke suits him well." However, Mr. Fitzwilliams added the photographs of the scene underlined the extremely serious nature of the accident. He said, "It sparked a national debate about whether elderly people should be permitted to drive." Prince Philip had another Land Rover delivered the next day, but the day after that was warned by police while driving without a seatbelt on a public road outside the Sandringham estate. The crash is being investigated by police and the passenger in the other car involved. Emma Fairweather, who suffered a broken wrist, has been complaining to the press about royal ingratitude. The other passenger, a baby, was fortunately unharmed. Prince Philip is impatient, truculent and not someone to take kindly to advice. He now needs to exercise restraint. As one of the nation's foremost public figures, he must now surely take a back seat when his car is on a public road, as depicted in the first series of Netflix The Crown. The Queen opted not to interfere when her husband started having flying lessons, but Mr. Fitzwilliams suggested she might have little option this time. He explained, "In these circumstances, the Queen might be the only person who could persuade this truly indefatigable nonagenarian to exercise restraint." Mr. Fitzwilliams was speaking on the same day Mrs. Fairweather launched an attack on the insensitive Duke after learning he had been spotted driving without wearing a seatbelt. Commenting on ITV's This Morning that the Duke had failed to comply with the legal safety measure, she said, "It's highly insensitive and inconsiderate towards me and everybody involved." A quote from Prince Phillip in the news yesterday, "I was such a fool. Seems he's prepared to admit is some responsibility, just not to me, just to everybody else." She added, "There needs to be a decision as to whether Prince Philip and I are from the same walk of life here or not." She also said the Duke should face prosecution if the accident was found to be his fault. Figures from the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency show Philip is far from the only person his age to hold a full driving license. "I feel that his treatment has not been the same as mine. There are 3,160 motorists aged 97 and over who hold one, including 3 men and 1 woman, compared with whom he is a relative spring chicken, given they are aged of 107. However, the figures give no indication as to whether or not these people, like the Duke, actually get behind the wheel of a car regularly.